All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. This is our June open house. Welcome, everyone. I know we all are tired of being home all day and we're tired of this shutdown, but we're going to make the best out of this. So we have a presentation prepared for everyone tonight. And as soon as I figure out these controls, we'll go ahead and get started. All right, so the first thing we want to do is we want to address the elephant in the schoolhouse. And to do that, I'm going to introduce our principal, Ms. Rachel Amstutz. Hold on, Rachel, let me unmute you.
Am I good?
There you go.
Hi there, good evening, and thanks for joining us tonight. We're super excited to have you here and to share more about our school with you. We really wanted to open by addressing the many questions that we know that exist about the return to school in the fall. We know you have a lot of questions, we have a lot of questions. Unfortunately, there aren't a lot of answers. So what I can tell you is that Anne Arundel County Public Schools is considering 3 options about how we might be coming back to school in the fall. That could be back to school, like what we're used to. It could be completely e-learning, or it could be a blended environment. And so the Anne Arundel County Public Schools, the Children's Guild, and our team are all looking at all of these possibilities, closely following the guidance from the CDC, the state, the county, the health departments, and really putting in a lot of plans and contingency plans right now. But we know that you'll have lots of specific questions about what September might look like. And at this time, we don't have answers, but we feel very confident that we will have answers. It sounds like by late July from Anne Arundel County Public Schools, and that we have teams that are already digging into all 3 potential models. And as a school, we're also launching a subset of our seats to be able to offer full-time virtual learning if that's of interest or a need for families and students. So we do know that it's weighing heavily on your mind, and it is also on ours. And we will keep our families informed as we learn more about this, but we don't have all the answers tonight.
Thank you, Rachel. So just a quick reminder, today's open house is being recorded. So I don't know if you really know how the Zoom works, but we can't see your face even when you, if at the end you have questions, we can't see your face. So, you know, any concerns with that, you know, just let us know. And if you have any questions, please save them for the end. We'll do our best to get through all of the questions. And we'll also create a Q&A from today's open house that we'll send out to everyone. And this open house will also be available to review after we get everything online. All right. So the next slide, we have a video for you.
Measure this to make here as well. Off of something that I saw on TV.
All right. Okay, so I just got a text message that you guys couldn't hear the video. Could somebody let me know if that's the issue?
Brandon, we can't hear it at all. It's very, very quiet, but not audible.
Okay, so my volume is all the way up and I don't want to hold us up, so we'll go ahead and move on with the open house.
Do you think we could post the link to that video if they want to watch it later?
Yes, it's actually on our website.
Perfect.
So Tatiana or Ratasha or Naya, can you please go to our website and grab the link and put it in the chat, please? All right, so our mission statement at Monarch Academy Annapolis is to educate the whole child by empowering students to embrace diversity, inspire curiosity, and cultivate compassion. Exceptional education for every learner. So the first person I want to introduce to you today is our parent liaison, Ms. Tatiana Santos. Woo, yeah. Woo. Tatiana, you can
Hi,
unmute
everybody.
There you go.
Can you hear me? We good? Okay. So welcome to our virtual open house. Like Brandon says, my name is Tatiana Santos. I am the parent liaison and I work with Brandon closely on the admissions team. A little about myself, I have been in the school systems for going on 12 years now, but I have been at Monarch since the beginning, since before we were even in the school. Not only am I an original staff member, I'm also a parent. All three of my kids, so my oldest he was the first graduating 5th grade class at Monarch Annapolis. I have one 2nd grader going into 3rd grade, and I have a little one coming into kindergartner this year. So part of my job, we wear many hats, but part of my job is basically to help with communication, keeping parents informed, working with our administration and the school, and just doing everything we can to make sure you guys are in the loop. Part of my job is I'm a bilingual parent liaison, so I'm constantly providing equal language accents, translating things for the school. You'll also hear me a lot on connected calls, which are kind of like those automatic calls when we say, hi parents, this is Monarch Academy Annapolis, and I'll usually do it bilingually, so you'll hear from me a lot. I serve as a bridge to the school system. I am not only familiar with Monarch Annapolis, but I've been in the school system, so if it's Monarch, I can help you with that. If it's something you need from the Board of Ed, I can also help you get to the right place, like lunches or meals. Yes. Sorry, my little one just came in the room, of course. I'm also a mom of 3. So anything I can do as far as that. Any questions or anything you need with the school, I'm here to help with that. Something as little as, what are some of my phone calls? Miss Tatiana, I think my son took my keys to work today. Can you go down to the classroom and check? And I can go down and do that. Or can you set up an appointment to meet with the teacher? I can do that. There's nothing too big or too small that I can't help you. I'm really just your second set of eyes there and a bridge to the school. So I had to write everything down so I don't forget. My goal is to build a community school. I want you to feel like you guys are involved. I do a lot of events at the school. Some of the things that I do, which is like my fun part of my job, is just to name some, Hispanic Heritage Festivals and fiestas, trunk or treats, holiday events, Easter egg hunts. We have a daddy-daughter dance. We have a mother-son game night, other things like that, just building that community part of the school. We love having the families involved. Community resources, if there's ever anything that you guys are in need of, I work closely with our guidance counselor and just trying to find you whatever community resource that you need. I've been in Annapolis for a long time, but I do know a lot of people around the county, so I'm also there for that. Some of the new families, you'll probably meet me before school starts or hear from me or get a phone call because like I said, I work with Brandon on the admissions team, so I'm calling, just checking in, seeing how you guys are doing, if there's anything I can do to assist. and just giving you that warm welcome when you come into the school. So many hats. Can't wait to meet you guys. Personal welcome from me. If you need anything, I will put my information in the chat, and I'm looking forward to meeting all you guys. Thanks, Brandon.
Thank you, Tatiana. So the next person that I would want to introduce to you is our secretary, Miss Naya Curtis.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. So like Brandon said, my name is Ms. Naya Curtis. I am one of the 3 secretaries, but 4 people that work in the office. So I work close to Tatiana, Alina, and also Ratasha. You'll meet both of them soon. I do attendance with Monarch, so I'll be one of the first people you see when you walk in the door. If your child's running late or if you're running late, no worries, we'll get you checked in and everything like that. Just like Tatiana, I also wear many hats. So in addition to being attendance secretary and a part of the school, just in the main office and any way that I can help, I also do the social media. So we have a Facebook, Twitter, and we also have an Instagram, and I will share those with you in just one second. I'll also put them in the chat too so that you can see them typed out. So our Facebook is Monarch Academy. Our Instagram is Monarch Academy Schools. Our Twitter is Monarch Annap, AACPS. So please follow us. We do fun, cool things all throughout the school year. Can't wait to meet you all. Follow our social media so you can definitely see some of the things that we do. Nice to meet you all.
Thank you, Naya. So again, when you see all of the amazing things on our social media page, Naya controls that. The next person I would like to introduce to you is our office manager, my favorite, Miss Ratasha Harley.
All right, can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Perfect. Okay, I just turned my camera on too. Perfect. All right. Hi, good evening, everyone. Again, thank you so much for everyone who has taken the time out today to join us. My name is Ratasha Harley. As you can see, my slide is more business than everyone else's. But I, like Tatiana and Naya, also wear many, many hats. And I was also one of the original, Monarch Annapolis employees. As Tatiana said, when we started back at Annapolis Middle, I'm so sorry. My daughter is speaking to me, even though she knows that I'm presenting right now. I apologize. But yeah, we started at Annapolis Middle. My daughter in 5th grade at the time was with Tatiana's son CJ, the first graduating class of Monarch. And my other 5th grader just got promoted. And then I'm gonna have another 5th grader at Monarch next year. So you'll hear that over and over and over again, that so many of us not only have our kids there, but that we wear many hats. We love what we do, and we're passionate about it. So we'll get to the business. Part of what I do in office is do the applications part of kind of the whole admissions process. So if you have yet to apply, I have the link right there at the top of my slide, and you'll find the admission page on our website. It's a simple application. You'll just need if you're a current Anne Arundel County Public School student, you would need your lunch number, 6-digit number. You can get that from the school. And then the password would be your birthday, 4-digit year, 2-digit month, 2-digit day. Actually, should have updated the slide. It says Friday offer letters. Those will be Thursdays during the summer because we don't work on Fridays. But once you put in that application, we receive it, or I receive it, review it, make sure that everything's good. And then on Thursdays throughout the summer, I will send you a really excited acceptance letter that says congratulations, you've been accepted to Monarch Academy Annapolis, and that'll have more information on how you register. Typically, if you don't receive that after you've applied, only things that that I still kind of need more information on is a clarification in your child's grade level and their birthday. And so here on the slide, you can see where it says, where I put kindergarten, you have to be 5 years old by September 1st, 2015. And for first grade, you have to be 6 by September 1st, 2014. Brandon, did you go to the next slide, the magnet application one? Thank you. And this is what the application page looks like. So username, as I said, would be that 6-digit student ID number, password, birthday. If you're coming from out of county, out of state, private school, you would have to create a new account, and you can see that down towards the bottom where it says create a new account, current non-AACPS student. And again, if you guys ever need anything, if you need any assistance with this part, any of us can walk you through that happily. And let me go back. Do I need anything? Brandon.
Yes.
Can you go back to the next slide,
Go back.
please?
Yes.
Thank you. So offers are given out on a first come, first serve basis. So as long as we have space in our grade level, you know, you'll receive that offer. Some of our grades are filling up. And so again, if you haven't already applied, please do so, you know, as soon as possible, because, you know, applications and again, those spaces just go quickly over the summer as people start to, you know, think more and more about next year. That's all I have. If you want to, like I said, if you have any questions, if you guys want any information about the application process or just want to say hey, I'll put my info in the chat. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Ms. Ratasha. Again, if you have any questions about our application process, please ask your questions in the chat. And the next person I want to introduce is Ms. Alina. She's going to talk to you a little bit about our registration process. Alina, are you unmuted?
I'm good.
All right. There you
Can
go.
you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our virtual open house. We really wish that we could be there in person with you to walk you around the school. It's so beautiful. We have painters there as we, you know, throughout the week, making it more beautiful every day. As you heard, I'm Alina Ruiz, and I am the registrar at Monarch Annapolis. I'm from Maryland, so I'm very familiar with the area and the people, and I assist in bringing new students into our school. I help facilitate their transfers from 5th grade to 6th grade, and right now, since we are working remotely for the most part, registrations are taking place in DocuSign. So when Ms. Ratasha sends you the acceptance letter, she'll also be sending you a link that says to go to DocuSign, and that's where you put in your name and your email address, and that's how you complete your registration. Before you get started, you might want to have all of your documents ready, and it's basically standard what you would need in any other school. You'll be completing your basic information for the student. You'll be providing documents such as a birth certificate, 2 proofs of an address of your residency. You'll be providing immunizations. And if it's a kindergartner, we'll need a lead certificate. And if you're transferring from another school, please don't worry. We're going to be working all of that on the back end. all of us secretaries at every school, we all are in contact with each other, moving kids back and forth from each school. And let's see. And if you have any issues or change in circumstance about your registration, if you've moved, if you have a custody issue, please be sure to contact me, and we can make sure that we take care of all of your needs. And also, if you have any IEPs or any special needs that you need to, you want to make sure that you let me know, and we'll make sure we get the right people to help out. I'm going to put my email in the chat, so if you have any questions about registration, you can please give me a call.
Oh, there we go. Sorry about that. Thank you, Alina. So we tried to create a real simple admissions process for our new families and our incoming families. Again, to address the COVID, we've transitioned everything to being online. So the application was already online. So now we have the flexibility to make our registration process online, which is truthfully has been a great transition for a lot of our families. All right, the next person I want to introduce is our school counselor, Miss Nikki Johnson. She's not able to be with us tonight, so I'm going to ask Miss Amstutz to talk a little bit about Miss Nikki's position at the school.
Certainly. So once you get to know Miss Johnson, you'll see that I'm no replacement for her. So Miss Johnson is our school counselor, and she has a mighty and powerful role in our school. She will help welcome every new student to our building to make sure that they feel comfortable, that they can find their way, that they make friends. She's there to help facilitate all sorts of social and emotional learning and skills. She's the ear for you and for your child, and she's really there to support in any way that a family or a student needs. She provides the mandatory state curriculum lessons that are required of school counselors, but she goes way far beyond that in the way that she supports our students and makes sure that school is fun and welcoming, and that students are connected at our school. And like you've heard from many others, she also has her 2 children in our building and is very passionate and has been there since the beginning, and really crafted, along with the team that you've met so far, what Monarch Academy Annapolis is all about. And she will love to tell you all about that as she gets to meet you and welcome you to our school.
Thank you, Ms. Amstutz. And Ms. Johnson really wanted to be with us tonight, but she's actually teaching a mentoring class for a group of young girls. And that was a conflict in her schedule. But we appreciate Ms. Johnson, and we love her at the school. The next person I want to introduce, I'm sorry, I got so much stuff on my screen. Ms. Tilly Coyle. She's our PYP coordinator. She's also not able to be with us tonight. So Ms. Amstutz, can you talk to us a little bit about PYP?
Absolutely. And with summer vacation starting, Miss Coyle and her family have headed out of town. And I know that she loves to be able to inform our new families about what being an International Baccalaureate primary years program school is. It is it's an honor for us to implement this program, and we really love the ways that it helps us make learning real and connected for students. So in an IB PYP school, we try not to teach in silos, so that you don't go to science class, you don't go to social studies class, that the topics are focused on what we call a unit of inquiry. And inquiry is a key word in a primary year school. We really want children to learn to ask questions and to be curious and to dig in and want to learn more, that they get so inspired by their learning that it doesn't stop at 3 o'clock when the school bell rings, that they're empowered to learn more and to do something with their knowledge. So we have a very amazing locally crafted program of inquiry. Each grade level has 6 units that take about 6 weeks each. And in those units, they cover all of the required curriculum as identified by the state of Maryland. And the big goal is that it's really grounded and rooted in current events and in topics that children can dig into and become very curious about, but also that then they can take action, that they can see ways to make our local community or our whole world a better place, and that even at a young age, they're able to have a great impact. It also features a focus on an internationally minded education, that we help students learn that the world's bigger than Maryland, the world's bigger than Annapolis, and that there are different cultures and different languages out there, and that we help children learn to appreciate the value of that, and to recognize that we truly are better together. In doing that, we do offer a second language. That is a requirement of a PYP school. Our school's second language is Spanish, so all students are exposed to the Spanish language and culture. This year, we're looking at changing how we do that, that we'll actually be partnering with teachers from South America, who will be likely Skyping into our classrooms and interacting with students. So they'll actually be learning the language and hearing the language and learning of the culture from native speakers. So PYP has so many arms and branches under it when we think about the ways that it shapes who our school is and how we provide an education to our students. Ms. Coyle created this beautiful website that you're seeing a little screenshot of, and we'll post this in the chat as well, so you can click on the Google Sites and see the learning that was happening during the COVID-19 shutdown. So you'll be able to see a bit more about our PYP implementation. We are a candidate school, which means that in the next year or so, we'll be applying to get verified as a formal International Baccalaureate Primary Year school. And that means a lot. There's a network of schools around the state, the country, and the globe that unite together with this curriculum framework. So I would encourage you to click around on that website. You will see a school-wide unit of inquiry that we launched this time in this spring that dug into COVID-19 to allow children a place to process components of it that were age appropriate, and to help them think about how they could contribute positively right now in the world. So there's a little bit about that on there. You'll also find some of the clubs that we did and the e-clubs that we did in the school shutdown, as well as clubs that were happening before that. And you'll see a lot of things about our school there. If you're coming into our school with a kindergartner, you'll find a tab there about kindergarten and getting ready for kindergarten, with some great resources and even some pictures of the school, so your child can get an idea of what our school looked like. But again, we are very excited to offer the PYP program and feel that it really grows our children to be very powerful learners who take ownership of their education and just become insatiably curious about the world around them and how to make it better.
Thank you, Ms. Amstutz. So before I introduce our principals, I do want to bring Tatiana back so she can talk a little bit about our food distribution. Tatiana?
Yep, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so during all this COVID and stuff, one way that we are helping out in the community, and I just wanted to shine some light because I think it's a really beautiful thing that we're doing at Monarch. Every Thursday from, I believe it's 10 to 12, we have a food distribution. It's a drive-through, you just drive on up. But what's exciting is we just got a partnership with the Maryland Food Bank. So starting the week of July 6th, we will have an amazing food distribution, to put it so least. We worked with them in the past, and it's an abundance of food that they provide to us weekly on a huge trailer. It's for anybody and anyone. You don't have to be part of Monarch. It's for the whole community. So I'm really excited to be partnering, for Monarch to be partnering with the Maryland Food Bank throughout the whole summer. I know the county is going back. They were doing their meal setups and the Meals on Wheels, and I think they're going back to their regular summer program. But this is something great, especially on Thursday, since Fridays the schools are closed and they have longer weekends. if you can, or if you know someone that needs to, stop by on Thursdays starting to, well, we're doing it every Thursday, but starting July 6th, it's going to be a really great food distribution. We work with Bridge Church too, that comes out and helps us with their volunteers. So I just wanted to make sure that we knew about this great opportunity. And it's also a great way just to say hi if you want to stop by, and we'll put it right in the car for you. So just wanted to put that out there. Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you, Tatiana. And those are community efforts. So if you know somebody that is interested, please tell a friend to tell a friend. All right, so the next person I want to introduce to you is our assistant principal, Mr. Brad Clapper.
Thank you, Brandon. As Brandon said, my name is Brad Clapper, and I'm the assistant principal at Monarch Annapolis. This is my first year at Monarch. We actually just finished our first year. Prior to becoming an AP in the county, I actually was a 5th grade teacher in the North County area and also a Title I math teacher. And I've enjoyed my time here at Monarch and had a great first year to it. And I'm really looking forward as we move forward with our students and also our families, continuing to make really just a perfect place for our students to be at. One of the things that I really appreciated about the school is, and whenever I first was looking at positions and learned more about Monarch early on, was that for our students, we really have a chance to take the best of the educational offerings that AACPS has and really tweak that with the creativity that our teachers present to. In our classes, our teachers have a ton of freedom in terms of what they want to bring into it. And as long as they're meeting the Maryland state standards, they're able to really have a lot of creativity and really make their lessons their own. And that's something that we found that's really effective and helpful for our students, because not everyone is going to learn the same way. And whenever we have our teachers have the freedom to go a little bit outside the box, it really benefits our kids. So walking into classrooms and seeing things that aren't just a standard lesson that you're going to have with all the worksheets and everything, they're really taking it and using strategies and being creative in ways that you wouldn't always get to see. And it's a great feeling just to know that our kids are learning in ways that are really interesting them. And that's something that's been really exciting for me to see this year. I also really appreciate that our school, we really look for ways to provide enriched environments and experiences for our students. We don't want them just to be in a math class and say, okay, for this 1 hour, it's math. We're looking for ways that we can go outside of that to do more with it. One example of that is a program that unfortunately we didn't get to complete this year, but we're actually meeting with a representative that's currently in Annapolis, but has contacts with a school in Brazil. And our 5th grade students, we were actually going to have them work with our contact and work with another school in Brazil of 5th graders as well, in a town that's very similar to Annapolis. It's a crabbing community. Fishing is very popular as well there. And really talking about the differences and similarities between the two towns to really give our kids an experience of seeing that, you know, our world isn't just what's in Annapolis or isn't just what's in Anne Arundel County, but also they can see similarities there too. So just the students and then also a similar area. Another thing that I think is great as well is we really push for arts enhancement. We truly value the arts for all of our students, so especially considering art and music. When we think of our students, if they're only interested in math and reading and we're only pushing that, we're not meeting the needs of all of our kids. So we have many students that have many different interests and are good at many different things. And if we can provide them a program that really allows them to explore those different areas, they're going to find more things that they're successful with. So we look at success not just as, are you doing great in math? Are you doing great in reading and writing? But where are you going to be happy as a student? And what can we offer you to help meet your needs on it? So we really look for a lot of great ways and resources to push your students in ways that they want to learn. And you know, we want them to do well in math and reading as well, and that's important, but they have to have something they're passionate about. So if our teachers are really pushing those subjects that are the traditional academics, but they're also doing the really creative things with math, really creative things with art, there's so many different ways that we can do it. And it's really all about finding a way that helps your child be successful in whatever way it works for them. So those are just a few things that I've really enjoyed about this year, and I'm looking forward to having even more of them next year as we move forward.
Thank you, Brad. And as you can see, me and Brad, we're twinning today. Did I say it right, twinning?
Got it.
Absolutely.
And I don't know why Brad doesn't tell people he played basketball in college. So if your children are interested in sports, please tell them to challenge the assistant principal.
We had a few fun games on the court. So
So I do want Ms. Amstutz to talk a little bit about our new hire. We have a third assistant principal that haven't officially joined us yet. But Ms. Amstutz, can you talk a little bit about Mr. Shay Johnson?
Absolutely. So we're very excited as we're expanding this year to our max capacity to have added another assistant principal. So Mr. Johnson will be joining us as our second assistant principal. He brings an amazing background to our team. He's coming to us from a public charter school in Prince George's County, but prior to that, he's also taught in Baltimore City and also in a private school. But I think one of the neat things about him is that his own children went to a Monarch school here in Anne Arundel County Public Schools. So he completely understands our vision and our mission, and he's all in. So we're super excited to bring him on board on July 1st. So he'll be joining us this summer as we prepare for the fall, and you'll get a chance to meet him hopefully in person soon.
Thank you, Ms. Amstutz. So now I get a chance to introduce our famous, lovely principal, Ms. Rachel Amstutz. Woo!
Well, thank you very much. I know you're hearing from me a lot tonight. It is my pleasure and honor to be at Monarch Academy Annapolis. Like Mr. Clapper, I am just finishing my first year here, and it has been an amazing year. Monarch Academy Annapolis is such a special school. It's really, really amazing what's happening in our building. And when I back up and think about our mission, Mr. Turner opened with our mission statement, and even in itself, that's a powerful statement that anchors our work. But when I think about the reasons that Monarch Annapolis was crafted and our purpose for existing, originally we were started to help alleviate overcrowding in Annapolis. And so that was kind of the functional start. But then when you look at our purpose, you'll hear some of our staff talk about being one Annapolis and being able to show and to be a school that can unite and show unity in Annapolis and help our children really be empowered to contribute to our city and to show how strong the diversity of our city is. So we are a school of choice in the Annapolis area. We do target Annapolis area students, but currently we do have students coming to us from around the entire county. You'll hear words like we are powered by transformation education, just like at the bottom of the screen here. And that's a really amazing thing. So once you get to dig into that, you heard Mr. Clapper speak of a few of the 8 tenets of that, but we really recognize the importance of brain literacy, of helping our children understand how their brain works. And even when you come into our building, you heard Ms. Ruiz talk about us having painters there right now and muralists. They are finishing up a brain path, so that when our children walk through our main hallway in the kindergarten first grade area, which pretty much every student walks that way at some point, they're learning how the brain works. And it's intriguing, it's 3D, it's beautiful, but students stare at that and take it in and then can ask questions, and they can lift up little boxes and read things about it. But that's one of the features of our school, the enhanced environments that we really take pride in as a children's guild school, that we want the children to be captivated by their surroundings and to be constantly looking at the walls. It's been interesting being out of the school for a few months. When we all got to come back in, we'd walk through with 1 or 2 people and be like, wait a minute, is that a new mural? There's so much to see when you're walking through that children are in awe. Adults are usually in awe. In fact, I got to bring a few new teachers around yesterday on a tour, and they were just snapping pictures everywhere because the building is incredible. You heard Mr. Clapper speak about our focus on the arts integration, and that we believe in that strongly. Anne Arundel County Public Schools does as well, but here at Monarch Annapolis, we are charged with being a primary performing and visual arts school, as well as implementing the International Baccalaureate, and that's intentional, because that prepares students, whether they leave us and go to Annapolis Middle School and continue on the IB path, or if they would go to Bates and want to be tapping into the performing and visual arts. And so our teachers have the ability to bring the arts into their classrooms. And then also our arts teachers, we are bringing them on with even additional time next year so that they're able to not only teach that 1 hour a week of art, but also to collaborate with the classroom teachers to extend arts into classroom lessons and classroom instruction. Next year, you're going to see that we have an even bigger and growing focus on social emotional education. And that was intentional and planned before the school shutdown and this weird period of life that we're in right now. We recognize that our children need time to be able to learn and practice these social emotional skills. So we're actually adding a new course next year. It'll be a social emotional arts integrated course. We will be implementing the second step character education program across the school building. And then this course, 1 hour a week for every single class at every single grade, will come together with 2 master arts teachers who bring a variety of talents and focus areas, whether it's music or arts or theater. And the students will have time to practice these skills and to dig in. So we're really excited about this opportunity. We're also creating a new position and are excited to welcome our Dean of Culture to our school. And he will oversee the work of the social emotional team. In most schools, you wouldn't find a robust team like this, but at the Children's Guild and here at Monarch Annapolis, we recognize, and you would have heard Ms. Johnson say this, our school counselor, we have to educate the heart and the mind, that we absolutely have to make sure that our children feel connected, that they know that they're loved and that they belong, and that they know how to get along with their peers, how to problem solve. There's a lot of social skills that need to be taught and practiced in elementary school in order to be a successful student throughout your entire career, and frankly, to be a successful adult. In terms of our learning, very project-based, inquiry-based instruction. And so the students shouldn't be sitting and listening for long periods of time on end. We want to see them actively engaging. We want to see them building and creating. If you get some time and can Google and find some of the Instagram pictures, our PYP coordinator also has some amazing videos and pictures out there of hands-on learning, a kindergarten regatta, or creating these habitats that are just amazing that the students actually create and do. When kids are curious and when they're asking good questions and are invested in knowing, they're unstoppable. And so that's the type of learning environment that we want to create. And then when you throw in the increased arts, we do plan to see even more of that next year and more of the partnerships like Mr. Clapper described with the artist from Brazil. Another thing that we're adding is we're adding an enhanced GT pathway. So for gifted and talented students, we will implement everything that Anne Arundel County Public Schools does and more. So we, just like Anne Arundel County Public Schools, use the kinder, first, and second grade years to screen children and to identify their talents. By the end of second grade, the county has a process that would identify students as advanced or potentially as gifted. And then we have programs to support those. But we are also really trying to expand that work to make sure that we're not missing out on students' talents and on their gifts, that we're nurturing it from a very young age, and that we're also not letting any barriers stand in the way. So for example, if English isn't their first language, they would really struggle to pass an English assessment for gifted and talented, but we're looking for ways that will help us identify gifted and talented without that obstacle in it, and to ensure that we're providing enriched experiences and deep learning for all of our students. Just 2 last quick points. We mentioned that we are offering about 150 seats for e-learning. This was recently approved by the superintendent, and the seats are starting to fill up now that we've been able to announce it. But we recognize that there are some families who need a virtual learning option next year, regardless of what the county might be implementing in the fall once we know what those plans are. And so during our shutdown, we really found some successes in e-learning, and we had high student engagement and participation. And in 5th grade, we saw students actually complete novel studies and have really powerful learning engagements. And we have a video on our website that you can check out and see what that learning looked like, and how successful the students were and the ways that they engaged with their classes. They came together for live instruction, many times 90 minutes a day with their teacher as a group, and then had small group instruction in the afternoon. So learning didn't stop at our school during the e-learning time. We kept going. We had power standards that we were addressing. We were determined to connect with our students, to lay eyes on them, and to be chatting with them and giving them opportunities to interact with their peers while we had to be at home. So we do have the virtual seats that are available, and we'll be sharing a little bit more about registering for that before we close tonight. But finally, I would just note that we are growing to our max capacity. We're opening 6 new classrooms this year across the grades, and those seats are filling quickly. As Ms. Harley said, I think I saw a chart today, one of our grades only has 3 seats left in it. And so with the launch of the virtual seats, we are also expecting those to go quickly as well. So if you haven't applied yet, we certainly encourage you to do that. And we're here tonight to take all of your questions. So we appreciate your time, and we're glad that you're here. And we look forward to being able to answer your questions and hopefully see you in the near future.
Thank you, Ms. Amstutz. So I'm going to try this one more time. Before we get to questions, I'm going to try to pull up the video again, but I'm going to go directly to YouTube. So let's see how this works. Still not working. Still not working? Okay.
Not working.
All right, so we'll go back to Q&A. I apologize, this is a brand new computer, so I don't know what the issues are with the volume from YouTube, but we'll go ahead and transition to Q&A.
Hey, Brandon, real quick, I posted the link earlier in the chat, so before questions started coming in, the link to the YouTube video was in there.
Great. Yeah, so please, everyone, if you have time, please view the video. That'll give you an idea of the walls and murals that everyone was mentioning tonight. And we have some people that's talking about our school. All right, so questions. I know we had a few in the chat, but this is also a great opportunity. Parents and guardians, if you want to unmute yourself to ask a question, feel free to do so. If not, you can leave your questions in the chat. All right, so
Do you want me to start off with some?
yeah, because I don't know where we started at with the first one.
Okay, so I'm kind of keeping track of the questions that we have. So the first one is, how do we compare to other public schools or Annapolis schools?
So I'm going to guess that one's for me. I'm trying to figure out where to dig in on that, because I'm a numbers person and I love numbers. So I tend to think that we would look at data. And I think for that, I would suggest that you check out the Maryland Public Schools websites. There's data out there on all of the schools that can let you dig in as deep as you want. The one thing that I would mention is that unlike all of those other schools that have been around for 50, 60, 70, 80 years, we've only been around for 3. And this year, there's no data out there because we weren't in school to be able to do that. So in terms of that type of data, you've got 2 years worth of data out there that would be able to help answer some of those questions. If there are more specific questions, I'd be happy to dig into those. And obviously, in my opinion, we're way better than all of these schools because of the many unique programs that we offer and our focus on educating students' hearts and minds and providing them creative opportunities through the arts and through the social emotional courses and through the e-learning. And for me, any school that implements the IB International Baccalaureate program really strives to ensure that children are well-rounded, that they grow as learners, and also that they value the cultures around them, the world around them, and that they learn that they can do anything and that they are very powerful and can change the world. So if you're looking for data, we can get you a website for that. And if you have any more specific questions, I'd be happy to take those as well.
I'd like to speak as a parent when it comes to that question, if I can. So putting on my mama hat, I've done the public, I've done private schools, I've done special programs. What I really liked about Monarch and what like my kids liked about it is how they actually live the experience and the projects that they're going through. Like to give an example of how something that really impacted my middle one was when they were in first grade, they were learning about habitats and homes. So each one of the first grade classes picked a kind of home. So one teacher had igloo. So they all gathered as many milk cartons as they could, and they formed an igloo. To get into their classroom, they literally were like coming through their little igloo. One teacher, they were studying tree houses. So they picked tree houses. So he was super crafty and brought in branches and everything, made like a pulley, and they literally like, they learned in their treehouse. So it was that kind of experience that the kids, I mean, my daughter couldn't stop talking about it, like coming into the igloos, and they would go into each other's homes. So that project-based learning, it really does make a difference as far as the learning style and how engaged. Learning about bees, one of our teachers, he has a bee farm, and I remember one day somebody was swatting a bee out of their way, and my daughter was like, do you know how important bees are for us? Do you like food? Do you like to eat? Like, she was so passionate because she had learned the importance of bees because he came in and gave a lesson, just the project based, and then they were building their own little honeycombs and stuff. And I mean, just as a parent, it's much more engaging for them, and they come home and they talk about it, and they're so excited, and they're bringing in recyclables, and they're building things, and it's a much more hands-on. So as a parent, I think this style is what much more successful for my kids, but for them to come home and talk about it without me asking makes me know that like they really did learn something, and they really are engaged in their instruction throughout the day. So I just wanted to give my 2 cents as a parent. So now I'll go back to my staff role. Next question we had, Brandon, was how many students do we have per classroom per grade?
Brandon, do you want me to take that one?
Yes.
Okay, so right now what we're looking at in the actual school building will be 6 classes of kinder, 6 classes of first, second, and third, and then we have 5 classes of fourth and fifth. At our maximum would be our 4th and 5th grades, where we cap it as close as we can to about 25. We do try not to go too beyond that. In the younger grades, in kindergarten, we do go between 18 and 20, and each of those kindergarten classes would have a full-time assistant in that room. By the middle grades, in that 2nd grade, 3rd grade range, we have about 22 to 24. It kind of just depends. So it's a broad range to make sure that our classrooms are not too big, but also that we've got enough students in each room.
Thank you, Ms. Amstutz.
Okay, next question we have is an example. So we have a child that's coming from a private pre-K, so should be going into kindergarten according to their school, but they don't meet our Anne Arundel County cutoff. Can they still enter kindergarten at Monarch?
Anne Arundel County Public Schools is very strict on the birth date requirement. And if you want to consider early admission, there's a testing process for that. So you could reach out to one of us and we can help you get some more information for that. But it is a county and a state requirement rather than a school requirement.
Thanks, Ms. Amstutz. Have we considered having a pre-K or moving up into the middle school years?
Oh, one of my favorite questions. Absolutely, we've considered this. We are
A
hoping
lot of consideration.
a lot of consideration, a lot of work on this. We are hoping to expand to pre-K. We actually did put in a grant to the state with some of the Kirwan Commission funds that were that have been in the works. So if those get funded, we are in the runnings for a pre-K, 3 pre-K classes, and that is in our long-term plan. As soon as that is up and running and funded in the state, we have definitely been planning for that, looking at the curriculum and all of that, and even looking at staffing. So as soon as we get the go ahead, we're ready for that. Right now, it does not look like pre-K will be here for this fall, although I'm reluctant to give up hope that we keep that application out there, and I'm ready to spin on a dime if that's approved. But we do certainly think that it will begin the year after that, contingent on state funding. Now, the other side of that, as somebody who taught 5th, 6th, and 8th grade, I love those middle school kids. They are an amazing addition to a building. Our school, however, was opened to be a K-5 school, and we've explored it. And right now, the need for our school is to remain an elementary program. So it does not look like we will be expanding to the middle school levels. But it's something that we definitely keep on the table as a consideration, and to see if that's a need that the county has. But currently it is not an option that we have to explore.
Okay, thank you. 2 questions that I can answer real quick. One was, does even the kindergartners receive Spanish? Yes, all of our cultural arts are given to all of our students. And then uniforms. Our uniforms are, we wear the collared 3-button, as you would call a polo shirt. We don't have any logos on our shirts, but the colors that you can wear, we have navy blue, we have light blue, or some call Carolina blue, white and yellow are the top colors, and then we have khaki or navy blue bottoms. You can kind of wear that in any combination. They can wear any tennis shoes as long as they do not have any lights or wheels or anything distracting. Other than that, yeah, that's pretty much our uniform. We do sell, the PTA and the school sometimes will sell Monarch t-shirts, so you might see some of our students wearing t-shirts. Those are allowed to be worn throughout the day as long as they are one of the Monarch t-shirts. And right now, just as a mommy, you would probably start to find them soon at like your local like BJ's and Sam's Clubs for really good deals, just to keep your eyes out for that. Next question is, do you, Rach and Brandon, do you guys want to start going into the e-learning process, or are you saving that?
Yeah, which question?
We have some questions. So we have some questions about how to enroll for it and what grades are offered. But if we can do that, I can check out some other questions that are in the chat.
No, so how do you enroll for the virtual kindergarten? Is that
How do
the
you,
question?
like, how do we enroll? And then one
Yeah.
to piggyback off of that was, if they're a current student now, but they would like to be in the virtual learning for next year, how would they have to re-enroll, or how would a current student get into the e-learning for next year?
Yeah, so I'll answer the first question. So the registration process is the same. The first step is completing the application on the AACPS website. Alina, can you do me a favor and post that in the chat just to make sure our families have it? After you apply, we'll actually send you a congratulations, you have been offered a seat letter. And in that letter, you'll either get a registration for in school, or you'll get a registration for e-school based on what you click during your application. So on the AACPS website, you'll have the option to choose whether or not you're interested in the e-school. The registration, everything is through DocuSign. The only thing that's different about our e-learning registration or our e-school registration is an acknowledgement statement that you'll sign or agree to before you get into the registration. So it's a pretty simple process. Again, everyone here is willing to help you through that process. If you have any questions, I'll actually leave my contact information in the chat because, you know, I'm available 24/7 pretty much to answer any questions that you have about our registration process. And the second question, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
The second question was, do current students have to re-enroll for virtual learning? So you will need to complete the application. But once you complete the application, we don't make you go through the entire registration process, but we do ask you to sign the acknowledgement statement. And then just to give you an example, I had a parent recently, yesterday actually, she had a current student and she had a new student. Both wanted to register for our eSchool. For one student, the new student, she completed the entire registration. And for the current student, she just submitted the acknowledgement statement.
Okay. One question to piggyback off the e-learning again before I get into the other questions is, will there be some sort of parent information night or presentation on the e-learning program so that parents have an idea of what it would look like?
Absolutely. We're planning on a couple of ways to get information out to families, and there will be a dedicated opportunity just for the e-learning piece. We've got some staff who are working on, I think I saw the question about some schedules and things like that. One thing that we do want to make very clear about e-learning is that the crisis e-learning that we were all in from March to June, that was crisis e-learning. That was, the state waived a lot of the expectations around the amount of schooling that needed to happen. When we come back in the fall, no matter what, it's back to school as a full year. We've got to cover everything, and we've actually got to do a little bit of double time to make sure that our students aren't missing any gaps from this spring crisis teaching moment. And so in the summertime, our teachers are hoping to be able to engage with students in the e-learning classrooms so that the kids can learn the technologies, they can sign on, we can start to build some community. That would likely be occurring in August, but we're really spending the time now and in the first half of July to map it out. They have been working on possible schedules that they might consider for students. Our model is basically a flexible blended learning model of virtual school. 80% of it will be done at home, and up to 20% of it will be done or will be available at school. The part of school that will be absolutely required is any state testing or county testing that is required to be in a secure environment. The other part of that 20% would be optional. If you want your child to be able to come in on those days, the teachers will be there. We will have TAs in those classrooms. There'll be small group and whole group lessons. They'll be streamed and video recorded for later access, as will any of the live teaching that's occurring in the at-home time. They will be creating a video archive of those lessons. So the short answer is yes, we absolutely plan to help parents know what this is going to look like, how to make sure that e-learning is right for their student and their family, and to help students begin to learn how to access the technology tools. We are planning on doing some different tools for our primary learners. There's a program called Seesaw that is really designed for those kindergarten and first grade technology interactions that we believe is more developmentally appropriate for them. So there's a lot coming to help our families get ready for this and to really unpack it and make sure that people know what they're signing up for.
Okay, I have another question. In light of recent discussions that companies and schools have had to have, what percentage of people of color are teaching in the classroom, specifically percentage of African Americans?
Sure. So this year, as we were looking to grow our number of teaching staff, we started the recruitment process back in December, actually, and we were interviewing people January, February, March, April, May, to find the best candidates out there. Prior to the shutdown, you were probably aware of the intense teacher shortage. There is an intense teacher shortage in our county, in our state, and in our country. So it's become more and more difficult to find teachers for classrooms. This is my 10th year as a principal, and I can attest to that firsthand, how difficult it has become. So one of our top priorities was to work to identify a diverse teaching staff that would mirror our student body as well. And that has proven to be challenging. So this year we have about 10% of our teachers that are African American. We did intentionally try to recruit African American and Hispanic teachers. We've worked with our county to ask them to direct any applicants that are coming in our way, and there's a very limited pool of teachers to be interviewing. So we are actively working with the Children's Guild on recruiting. We are partnering, we're even talking about partnering with the high school to grow our own, to make sure that we are able to have a more diverse teaching staff. But at the same time, it is a nationwide challenge that all school districts are struggling with right now.
So one other that I see here, there is one about our students here going to be taking the MCAP or PARC.
And I can answer that one. So PARC actually became NCAP, and the MCAP assessment is required of all public school students in the state of Maryland. So yes, our students take the reading and math MCAP assessments in the spring. This year they were exempted from that. That would be 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade. And in 5th grade, our students also take the science assessment. And then that would be the exact same as what they would be doing in a traditional Anne Arundel County public school as well.
Okay, I think that's it. I'm going back through. Parents, you're more than welcome to unmute and kind of just chime in if you have another question. I will say too, just as a reminder, I know if you were trying to call us the past couple weeks, we were not in office, but now there will be a secretary and or an admin in the building Monday through Thursday, correct? From pretty much all, like a normal school day. So if you're having issues, I know some people are sending me direct messages about student IDs or other things as far as figuring out where you are in the application process. You can either email, our emails are on there on the chat, or if you want to call the school, we can try and navigate the system and get you to where you need to be and get you some answers. So just make sure that you guys know that we are back. We're back in business, guys. We're back in the school, a little bit at a time, but we're back. So feel free to give us a call at the school at the 410-934-1444 number.
And I see the question
Brandon?
about aftercare. I can also address that. I know Alina is sharing the information about the Y-Care. We do partner with Y-Care. They use our building to implement their program, and it's independent of us. I do recommend, if you're interested, reaching out to them early, as they frequently have a wait list for seats. And students in our building, whether virtual or in the typical brick and mortar school, can register and have seats there, but it is restricted to Monarch Academy Annapolis students.
And they do not provide transportation. I get that question a lot. You have to provide your own transportation to and from aftercare. And one cool thing that I hear from the families is once you enroll in their program, it also gives you like a membership to the actual Y. So I think that's an added bonus.
And I wonder, as I read that question one more time, if the question is like, if you're coming from, say, Severn Elementary, can the child get off the bus from Monarch Academy Annapolis at Severn Elementary and participate in the Y program at Severn if they offer it? That's actually able to answer. Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. I think we were going to say the same thing.
Okay. It's something that I would encourage you to reach out to the Y-Care program and see, or if it's not even the Y-Care, it might be Anne Arundel County Recs and Parks, and see if that works for them. But we actually don't have anything to do with their registration or enrollment policies.
So, hi, good afternoon. My name is Angelina. I'm new to the Monarch for this year. I'm new on Anne Arundel. I did, this is my first year in Anne Arundel, and I had 2 kids. My question is, do y'all offer transportation? We are in Glen Burnie, so do y'all offer transportation from Monarch to Glen Burnie, or is restricted to the Annapolis area?
That's a great question, and we can actually post a link to our bus stops. We do have buses that go all over the entire county. We pick up in West County, we pick up in South County. You would want to scan all of the buses and the stops and pick the one closest to you. So it may not be right at the end of your street or your corner in your neighborhood, but there are stops that are regionally located around the county. The schedule posted was for last year, but it doesn't look like it's going to change too much. Mr. Clapper, anything you want to add about transportation?
I will say last year, as Ms. Amstead said, we go all throughout the county. So we last year had a total of 13 buses, 8 of those that mostly worked within the Annapolis area, but the other 5 that kind of crossed all over the county. So we have really tried to work hard to make sure that we provide accessible transportation for all of our students that are enrolled, and certainly working with families to make that happen.
And it looks like Ratasha was able to post the link to the transportation list there in the chat. And I do want to clarify, I see another question. Before care, yes, the Y Care offers before and after care in our building. And it is actually in our building if you go with Y Care. There are a few other programs, and the team might have to remind me, was it Boys and Girls Club and who else picked up at our school? You don't have to get your child there. If it's Y Care, they stay at the school. If it's one of the other programs, they have vans. There was one karate van.
And Lee's Taekwondo.
Taekwondo, okay. And it was Boys and Girls Club, right? They had a van?
Mm-hmm. 2, because we have so many kids.
Okay, perfect.
Great. New question for you guys. Do you have any after school activity, at least for 4th grader, that they can?
We do, and the website, I'm not sure if we posted it yet or not. The website that our PYP coordinator created has a list of many clubs that were happening at our building before we were shut down, and they are open to different grade levels for different clubs. And so there's a wide variety of types of clubs. Some are paid and some are for free. Some are outside partners, some are staff. And then even in the e-learning era, we were able to create some e-clubs, and we had kids engaging from home in some really cool extended learning activities. So we really do value the extracurricular and enrichment opportunities, and we're constantly looking to add more. But we do have a pretty robust offering.
All right, any more questions? If you don't have any other questions, or if you think of questions later on, please email me directly, and we'll do our best to answer them. I did, and I just received a direct message, so I'll answer that. All right, one more time. Any other questions? All right. Well, we really do appreciate everyone for joining us tonight. Again, we wish we could do this in the building, but under the certain circumstances, we can't do that right now. But we can't wait for the next school year and having all of our students back in the building. This has been real hard on educators to not be around students. That's what we do for a profession. So we just hope that we get a chance to meet everyone soon. Again, if you have any questions or concerns, email us directly and we'll do our best to answer them. And this video will be posted on our website before the end of the week. Yes, today's Wednesday, hopefully by the end of the week. And we'll also include the Q&A. All right, families, have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Night, everybody.
Thank
you.
Night.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.